Welcome back to the Relationship Whisperer Show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. Okay, and today I have a lineup as usual. For today's show, I'll be doing an astrology reading as usual for one of our celebrities or one of these celebrities. And then I'll be discussing relationship issues. And today I thought I might have a look at an actual couple again. One that's been in the news and has been lots of speculation regarding the status of their marriage. And because there's been issues, notable issues, and things just haven't seemed quite right with them. So ever since the word go, ever since their wedding. And I should have done this couple before, like a long time before, but I just slipped on my mind. They happened to slip under the radar for one reason or another. Mainly because they're not Americans. I guess they're Australians. They're not a Hollywood couple. And they are not our usual British royal family couple. But they are a royal couple. And the couple that I will be looking at and doing a reading for today is Prince Albert of Monaco and his wife, Princess Charlene. Yes, I guess that rings a bell. They are a royal couple and, and known worldwide, even though the country is very small. I mean, it's one of the smallest countries in the world, Monaco. And as I understand it, only like 2 square kilometers. That sort of thing. And that's why for a long time I was scratching my head and thinking, why is their ruler still a prince and not actually a king, like a sovereign name? I guess because it's the status of, the country being so small. I think it's probably one of the countries where they've got more foreigners living there in terms of more expats than there are the native population, the native Monacans. And I guess it's Monaco is known as a playground for the rich and famous, mainly because, and when I was watching tennis in particular, and they show the stats of the player, the age, height, and whether or not they played right-handed or left-handed, and also their country, which country they represent, nationality, and then where they reside. And almost all of them, I have to say, especially the top players, is Monte Carlo, Monaco. And for a long time, I didn't understand why until later when I grew up a bit and found out, it's because there's no income tax in Monaco. And that's why they reside there for income tax purposes. And so I guess that's the attraction of Monaco then. And it's also known as the playground of the rich and famous, mainly because it's just consumption tax there. Where there's a tax on things you buy, but not on your income. And to the wealthy, where they have so much income, they don't want to pay tax, and the proportion of their spending in Monaco would be very little as a proportion of their income. Though everything's very expensive, I guess even sitting down and having a breakfast at a cafe is actually quite dear, only because of the consumption tax. And also they get money from casinos there, as well known for casinos. So, that works for them. And I guess they kind of have to do something since their country is so small. So what could you export? And if not export, then try to get money in somehow. And even I was surprised at just how small it was. And they seem to be very wealthy. But they've done very well for themselves. And now Prince Albert was Prince Albert. He's still Prince Albert, but he's ruling Prince Albert. And also Monaco is well known for the very famous Hollywood actress Grace Kelly. Stopped her Hollywood career and married Prince Rainier of Monaco and went there and became a princess, known as Princess Grace. So And, tragically, she died in the early 80s in a car accident there with her daughter Stephanie in the car as well. Well, Stephanie survived, but unfortunately she died. Had very severe head injuries, and then her life support system was turned off. So that was very sad. I guess a lot of people knew about that, but you know what? There is something that not many people know about, and is that she and her family had to pay a dowry to Prince Rainier before he would marry her. And the dowry was $2 million back then. In the 60s, and that was equivalent to about $20 million now, as he wouldn't have married her without the dowry. So I guess it's like Indian culture as well. In terms of Western culture, the woman's family have to pay for a man to marry her, which I think is rather insulting. I mean, where are all the feminists coming out? Why aren't they coming out on the woodwork about this? It's terrible. And apparently she had to scrape and whatever money she made in Hollywood together, along with her father. His father was quite wealthy, to be able to find $2 million so he would marry her. Okay, I guess that bursts everyone's notion of a fairy tale. That's the thing. And as I understand it, back then, Monaco was not rich as it is now, and he needed the money. So, lady, you want to marry me and become a princess? Cough up the dough. That's the thing. Well, it is one thing. I mean, if someone gives you something and gives you money to take it, what do you think? What's your first thought? Well, what's wrong with it? Why would you not even demand payment or even just give it away? Say that, that's no value. If someone just gives something away to you, that means no value to them. But then pay you to take it? Well, what does that mean? First thought is, well, what's wrong with it? Is there something wrong with it? It's debt. Like you pay people to take your debt on, but not if it's an asset. So I'd never quite get the logic with that. Okay, because it implies she was just nothing but a burden and she had to pay him. It was her implying like it was her privilege to marry him, rather than the other way around. But that's the thing. I'm open to anyone debating about this. So, like I say, you can leave your comments on my Facebook page and under Miss Dragonfly, or what make marriage great again. But that is who I will be looking at. It's Princess Charlene and her husband, Prince Albert of Monaco. And, being from the word go, I think they've had so many marital issues. It did not get off to a good start, if people understand my drift. So I'll be going and having a look at her chart and how compatible they are, and also will the marriage last? Because we've had so many red flags about the marriage that's been in the news. If people have been following that couple, you know what I mean. And now, Princess Charlene of Monaco. We'll be looking into her astrology chart, and a reminder that the astrology that I do is Taoist astrology and not the Western astrology that most people are familiar with, like Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and so on and so off. So the Taoist astrology, most people would be familiar with it and know it as Chinese astrology. But this astrology does come from Taoism. And for people unfamiliar with Taoism, think the yin-yang symbol. Okay, that's prevailing philosophy of Taoism. And because it originates from Taoism, comes from Taoism, by all rights, it should be known as Taoist astrology. And so that's why I'm calling it as such. All right? Now, Princess Charlene, she has cut a very lonely and sad figure. I mean, almost like tragic figure. As I say, when I think of her, I mean, she's recently been in the news and being seen as being very sad. Sad new photos of her have arisen. And I guess to me, it's almost like she's like that Princess Masako, well, Empress Masako now of Japan. And she was just so depressed, and I guess she disappeared from public view for many years. I think a good 10 years or something like that. And I guess it was under so many rules and so forth. And I guess she's very depressed, and also been known as prisoner of the chrysanthemum throne. Okay. In Japan, but she's recently come out, and now she's an empress. It seems to be all right. Ever since after she had her daughter, I guess for many years, saying she was under pressure to produce an heir, and she couldn't conceive until I think her late 30s, something like 10 years after she married before she finally conceived. And to me, it speaks of a bit of I think she might have gotten some assistance, even though they wouldn't admit it. I think she might have had some sort of fertility treatment. I mean, why else would you have not conceived when you were 10 years younger, and then when you're almost 40, then conceived and gave birth? So I guess they gave her all that time to try and so forth, and didn't happen. So I guess intervention, though, obviously nothing has been said about that. It's all hush hush. So, but anyway, like I was saying, to me, Princess Charlene cuts as a tragic figure like her as well. And as you know, surrounding her, I think at the time of her wedding, she tried to escape the Monaco a few times before the wedding. And then she actually cried at her wedding as well. That wasn't a good sign. Everyone could see she wasn't happy. I don't know why she went through with it, and why she got pressured to marry. I mean, she could have just stopped. She could have said no to him when he proposed, I suppose. So I don't know what happened there in the background. And and Prince Albert has always been known as a kind of like a playboy prince and so forth. He's dated so many supermodels, and he's acknowledged 2 illegitimate children, and one to an American woman and one to a Togolese flight attendant that he met. Togo is Africa, African country. So those are the 2 they acknowledged, and I think they're quite recent, maybe the last few years or so forth. There's been another woman that's claimed in an Italian court that he say that he's the father of her child again. So, I guess for Princess Charlene, for any woman, actually having all this come out about your husband is not something that you can be happy with. And also, possibly while you were still married or in a relationship together. So obviously there was cheating involved. So imagine, as a woman even, how would she feel learning all that about her husband? And really, can she divorce him really? So in pressure, she's got 2 young children, twins that she gave birth to. She leaves, and then it kind of like she leaves the children. Because no way she'll be allowed to take them all away. There'll be heir. Well, the son is the heir to the throne. It's not like Meghan and Harry that just left, and if they divorce, which to me is a matter of sooner or later, actually sooner than later, then the children most likely stay in the US. One of them was born there, but also because they are not the heir to the throne, they're not in line, and even the father, Harry, is not a direct heir, so to speak. He's something like 1, 2, 3, like 4th in line to the throne now. So he's not a whole direct. So I guess that makes a difference. But let's say if it was the Princess of Wales, Catherine, if she divorced, with William, then she wouldn't be allowed to take the children as her aim because they're direct heirs at that fourth point. So a bit different. So cutting a very tragic figure, Princess Charlene. Okay, so Princess Charlene, she was born Charlene Lynette Whitstock. Okay, and she was born in Bulawayo, Rhodesia, but it's now known as Zimbabwe. Okay, details about her. She is actually an Olympic swimmer, so to speak, and she was born to Michael and a sales manager and Lynette. Her mother was a competitive diver and swimming coach as well, so I guess that's where it's come from. And she started her career in swimming in 1996, winning the South African Championships and represented South Africa at the 2000 Olympic Games. So her team finishing 5th in the 4x100 meter medley relay. And then she retired from professional swimming in 2007. Anyway, let's have a look at her chart. So she was born at 12:35 p.m. 25th of January 1978, and from that we generate her 4 pillars chart, and her year pillar is Yin Fire Snake. Her month pillar is Yin Water Ox. Her day pillar is Yang Fire Dog, and her hour pillar is Yang Wood Horse. Now from her chart, I can see some issues with her chart, mainly because she's got snake, ox, dog, and horse. Now, straight away, the ox and the snake combine. A partial 3-harmony metal combination. And the other half of her chart, the dog and the horse, forms a partial 3-harmony fire combination. So she's got a split there. So from that, you can kind of say that she seems something on the outside, but also something else on the inside. So, but two different things. For the person that we see, judged from the outside, is not necessarily the person that she is on the inside with the split chart. Also with the ox and the snake producing metal, it means that before she's 40, she is follow the money, and then after 40, she becomes dominant. She has a dominant chart there. And there's always in her chart this conflict between the two. So she goes one way and then the other way. Looking at this, she'll also always have some emotional issues, or let's say always some mental health issues and any struggle. Things are not always stable for her, in other words. Okay, now, first half of her life, before she's 40, when she's follow the money, her most favourable elements would be metal and earth, and least favourable wood and fire. And after 40, she becomes dominant fire. Her most favourable is wood and then water. So after 40, when she becomes dominant fire, her most favourable elements would be wood and water, and least favourable would be metal and fire. So the one thing she's got in common with both stages in her life is that she does not like fire. All right, so let's have a look at her history and what's been happening with her. Okay, in 1989, her family relocated to South Africa. And in 1996, she started her swimming career. And 1996 was a rat year. The rat combines with the ox month as well. So the ox, the month, it represents career. And so, yes, it's activated her career, that ox, with a water combination. And so, yeah, she started swimming. And now, and she did very well with that because 4 years later, she represented South Africa at the Olympics. And she also represented South Africa at the 1998 and 2002 Commonwealth Games, winning a silver medal in the 4x100 medley relay at the Commonwealth Games. And she finished 6th at the 2002 Short Course World Championships for 200 meters breaststroke. Okay, she's actually very nice, it seems. Throughout her career, she gave swimming lessons to underprivileged children. Now, the big thing that happened to her and capitulated her to become world famous is that she met Prince Albert of Monaco in the year 2000 at the Marie Nostrum swimming meet in Monaco. Okay, now the year 2000 was a dragon year. A dragon, and what happens with a dragon? Dragons clashes with her dog that governs her house of spouse. So that activates it, and so rightly she met her husband there. Something happened to her. And what about for Albert? Okay, Albert's chart, with his details, who was born on the 14th of March, 1958. So he is 20 years older than she is. And from his chart, his year pillar is Yang Earth Dog. Month pillar is Yin Wood Rabbit. Day pillar is Yang Metal Tiger. And our pillar is Yin Metal Snake. So he has dog, rabbit, tiger, and then snake. Now, the year 2000, how does that interact with his chart? His chart, it would interact and combine. The dragon would combine with his tiger and rabbit to form a seasonal wood combination. Okay, look, the thing is, his chart, his tiger and dog combine to produce fire, and that provides power for him. So, his best elements will be fire and wood, and his least favorable would be metal and water. So loves fire. So with that dragon in that year, the year 2000, forming that seasonal wood combination for him, that's a favorable element for him. So it's a good year for him. And also, yes, there's combinations with his house of spouse as well. So he met Charlene. Now, about their charts, are they compatible? How do they interact? Well, we can see that the dog that governs Charlene's house of spouse combines with Albert's tiger in his house of spouse. So there's already a combination there directly in the houses of spouse. And so what combination does that mean? Okay. Well, the thing is, they actually have also, besides that, they have a full 3-harmony fire combination. Charlene has the horse and the dog, and Albert has the tiger. And all three to them produces fire. And what did I say about Charlene? Fire is not a good element for her, but it is the best element for him. So in this relationship, it's clear that it would benefit him rather than her. And I think people will agree who've seen it play out. It has not been good for her, at least mentally. I mean, look, on a professional level and in terms of lifestyle, yes, she now has so much money, living the wealth that she would never have been able to achieve herself. The lifestyle and the fame as well, and the status, being royalty. But in terms of personally, it hasn't been good for her. It hasn't been good for her at all. So that's straight away, yes, there was attraction when they met, but in this chart, we say it's not good for her on a personal level. Okay, this is something I almost missed, and that is during the year 2000, Prince Albert went through the goat luck cycle. Okay, and at that time, the year 2000, Charlene was going through the rabbit luck cycle, at the tail end of the rabbit luck cycle, and goats and rabbits combined. They combined to produce a partial 3-harmony wood combination. So there again, more wood. And for Albert, that is his second best element. Okay, but for Charlene, it's not her best element yet until she is over 40. But then again, it is an extra combination, and so the attraction is there. All right. Now, moving on, they made their first public debut as a couple at the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics in 2006. Okay, 2006, that was the dog year. So the dog year combined it with Prince Albert's tiger in his house of spouse, and also the same as the dog in Charlene's house of spouse. So it made sense then that they came out as a couple then on that year. And in 2010, they announced their engagement. Yeah, 2010, what was that? That was a tiger year. And a tiger year is the same as Prince Albert's tiger in his house of spouse. There again, it's activated again. And the tiger year, what does it do for Charlene? It combines with her house of spouse, the dog in her house of spouse, but also in 2010, that was in Charlene's dragon luck cycle. And like I said, the dragon luck cycle, or the dragons, combines with Albert's tiger and rabbit to form a 3-seasonal wood combination. There it is again, wood. Lucky for him. More luck for him. Now, when the palace announced their engagement, she got a diamond engagement ring, which was a pear-shaped 3-carat diamond at the center, surrounded by around brilliant diamonds. And the wedding was originally scheduled for July 2011, but was moved to a bit later to prevent a conflict with the IOC meeting. And the couple were married in a civil ceremony on the 1st of July 2011 in the throne room of the palace. Okay. Now, 2011, they were married. And look, this is the thing. 2011 was a rabbit year, and it combined it with her dog in her house of spouse. Okay, so that activated her house of spouse again. So yeah, they're married, but there were, as you might have remembered, there were all sorts of rumors and drama leading up to the wedding. Supposedly, she tried to flee the country a few times to avoid the wedding. And they took her passport, palace officials took her passport off her so she couldn't flee, and they were trying to convince her to go through with the wedding. And for all those that watched the wedding, she cut really as a real tragic figure at her own wedding. I mean, we can see her crying, a poor thing. And unlike with most brides that cry out of happiness, she was crying tears of sorrow. You can tell there's a difference when people cry out of happiness and unhappiness. No, it's nothing to laugh about, really. It's just the whole situation, I guess, was all laughable. I can see why from their charts, why he really wanted to marry her. And I can also understand from their charts why she didn't really want to marry him, even though the attraction was there. And I guess to a lot of people, when thinking, why go through it? And then if you're that unhappy, are she being forced to marry him? From all the drama surrounding it, it seems like she had been. It looks like, there is an attraction there that she has for him. But I guess unconsciously, she would also be able to feel that he's bad for her. This situation is bad for her. And that's why she wanted to flee, this poor thing. And I guess, with rumors of him, he's philandering and so forth. I mean, like his son, I think he had a son where through an affair he had with a Togolese flight attendant. And the son was born in 2003. And that is being a bit naughty, seeing that he met Charlene in 2000. Presumably they started a relationship then. But then he would have also been having a relationship with his other girlfriend to have gotten her pregnant. And his son, Alexandre, was born in 2003. So that's during the relationship with Charlene as well. Naughty boy. Being very naughty and bad with Charlene at that time. And he only acknowledged paternity in 2005 after a paternity suit that the mother filed against him, and so he fessed up. Yeah, that would not have been a nice thing. I mean, already, I think 1992 or something, that he had another illegitimate daughter first. That was the first child he had with an American woman. And it was only later that he admitted to paternity. And now apparently I heard, it was quite recent, an Italian woman father said that, claims that he's the father of her child as well. Imagine being his wife as she is. So I can understand that she has been very, very unhappy. And though in 2014, the palace did announce her pregnancy, and she gave twins in that December. Okay, a female, a girl, and a boy. So it's Princess Gabriella was born first, and then Prince Jacques, who is the heir apparent, being a boy. So in Monaco, they still have preference with the male, have male preference. All right, now in 2014, that was a horse year. And our pillar, which is also her children's pillar, is a horse. So that was activated there, 2014. Okay. Now, there's been lots of issues with Charlene, okay, because she's had a number of health issues. In 2021, apparently, while on a trip to raise awareness about rhino poaching in South Africa, she caught a ear, nose, and throat infection, and it led to problems with equalizing pressure and prevented her from flying above 20,000 feet. Okay, and who has had multiple surgeries and procedures, and she's been ill, so she's stayed in South Africa. It was like, a year that she was in South Africa. So she was away from her husband and her two small children. And apparently in November 2021, the palace announced that Charlene would be resting and that she had cancelled all her activities owing to her ill health and deep fatigue, and was in a recovery period in a location outside Monaco. And after a 4-month stay at a Swiss clinic, in 2022, Charlene was back in Monaco with her family and was expected to restart her duties. And now apparently she sees her husband by appointment. So in 2022, in an interview with a magazine, Charlene described her health as still being fragile and saying the road has been long, difficult, and so painful. Today I feel calmer. Now, last year in 2023, there was speculation that Albert and Charlene was about to separate again. Those rumors surged after she deleted her Instagram account. Though the life story seems to go on, and she seems to continue to attend to her duties and is back in the public eye. Though it doesn't seem to be a happy one. It's more of saying, I guess it's like a duty and obligation that she has to do. So the big question is, will they stay together? Will they stay together? Okay. This year. Now, this year is the dragon year. And so again, like I say, the dragon and the dog clash. The dog being governing Charlene's house of spouse. So not good news there. But the dragon is good for Prince Albert. And this year should be good for him because he makes a whole 3 harmony wood combination with the rabbit and the tiger in his year. So, there would be problems in the relationship already this year, being with that clash with Charlene on her house of spouse. What about next year? Well, next year, it's the year of the snake. And so it's not so much a clash with them. However, I noticed that next year, Charlene would be going into her horse luck cycle. Now, and luck cycles last for 5 to 7 years. So this is more ominous. It can be good or it can be ominous. The horse combines with Prince Albert's house of spouse and combines with Charlene's house of spouse with her dog to produce fire. Now, with Charlene's horse luck cycle, that would give Prince Albert the full 3 harmony fire combination, because the horse combines with his tiger and his dog. So that's great for him for 5 to 7 years with her. However, that also means that Charlene would get this fire for 5 to 7 years. And not only that, it's activated both their houses of spouse for 5 to 7 years. So what is that going to mean then? What it means is that normally when you're single, as I said, and you have either a clash or combination in your house of spouse that gets activated, then you can meet someone. However, if you're married, an activation of your house of spouse can mean a split. If it's a clash, straight off, danger of a split. If it is a combination, like in this case it is, they can still separate. Okay. And I'm leaning towards them separating because firstly, all this fire is very bad for Charlene. And secondly, this activation on an already fragile relationship, putting additional pressure on it for 5 to 7 years, it's a bit much. And it looks like in this case, I think this marriage is gone or will be gone after next year. Well, after this year. And then it will slowly. They might take some time announcing the separation for appearance's sake and because the children are young. So if the separation and divorce is not official, it would practically be so unofficially. I guess in the case of like Princess Diana and Charles, where they did not divorce for years later, but effectively the marriage was over for years. And it was just a pretense. And I guess everyone just pretended. But it's like an open secret that their marriage was over. And I guess if it's not going to be officially over for them, it'll be like Princess Di and Charles's case, where in practice it is over. So that's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. I can see why he really likes her, but yeah, he's not good for her, I guess. And sometimes I guess all the money and fame in the world is just not worth it. And in this case, it did not bring her happiness. So that's my reading on Princess Charlene and Prince Albert's marriage. All right. Now, to make marriage great, people need to know how to act in a marriage in order to make it great. I mean, yes, I've had many shows and I've given a lot of advice as to how to choose the right partner for marriage. That is very important because that sets the tone for the rest of the marriage, the rest of the relationship, and so forth. But then, okay, you're married. What do you do in a marriage to make it great? To make it successful and the way that marriage should be. So what do you need to do to ensure that it will not fail? First of all, you really need to remember what a marriage is, what a marriage is all about. The broad picture of it. And that is, remember, marriage is basically a team, a formation of a team. Two people coming together to form that team in a practical sense, which is called marriage. And why is it different from other relationships? Because you've stood in front of your family and friends and society and declared yourself that you are now going to be a team and registered with the state and state laws and bind yourself legally. So that's a big difference over than just living together, where there's no real, I guess, spoken commitment, either implied or explicit. Mostly explicit and even implied. That with that there is no bond about a bond. So to me, really, there's no bond. So marriage is legalizing, and not only that, making it formal, your declaration, and that now you are a team, the two of you. So if you keep remembering your team, then you should know what to do. And for those that don't like the idea of being part of a team, and all the stuff doesn't sound good to you, then don't get married. So if you are part of a team, okay, what do you need to do to be part of as a team member? Remember, you still have to do your bit, even though the other party, your other partner does something, and you also have to do your part. Just think of it as, one of those projects that you work together. I mean, anyone that's been in school or uni, I think they're team projects where you all got to put in your part. And maybe even at work, when you're working on a project together as part of work, everyone has to do their bit. You remember what you're trying to achieve, the end goal, and then you split up tasks. You do this, I do that. I'm better at this, so I'll do this. You're better at that, you do that. And it is always great when you have a productive team member, isn't it? And better if your team member is actually talented and brings skills to the table. Just think of that. Okay, so being part of a team, and a marriage, it is all about needing to improve your life together. And what is your end goal? When you're doing a project of work or school, yeah, it's completion of that project. Or, at work, it's getting that in time in order to launch or whatever. But in a marriage, because you're a team in life, it's basically to build your end goal. And then I guess like all of us, we work to our retirement to save up for a retirement. So when we cannot work anymore, we're okay, we're looked after. We've saved up for a rainy day, bit of our assets, our resources. And so when you are part of a team, a part of a marriage, then you have someone else to help you along. See, and it could be not just twice as fast or twice as efficient. Because remember, it's just like you trying to do something with one hand as opposed to another hand. If you've got a second hand, then your productivity increases not just by double, but more than double. Okay, so remember, you work together to build a life together, to make progress and build the best life you can achieve together. And what does that mean? Well, first thing is it means making money and looking after finances, building up your nest egg. Okay, so that means if one partner happens to be you're in a less fortunate situation where one partner is able to earn enough for both of you, has such a high income, then that's fine. Then you can worry about doing something else, like looking after the money and the finances and all that sort of thing. Husband and also investments. However, if it's not enough, like nowadays, it's very hard to get by with just one income. So if that's the case, then yep, you need to also roll up your sleeves and earn and bring in another set of income, and that's helping the both of you. I mean, now even trying to rent on your own is you're in a little hovel, maybe a one bedder. Most people can't even afford that on a regular income, which is crazy. So you both have to work, and that is the way it is. Now, also not just the money-wise, help each other. There is also, so if you're raising children, there's another thing that you've got to do with them. Split tasks, help each other out. And then there's always work around the house and housework as well. Yeah, you can split the chores to whoever does it better, that person does it. Okay. But each also needs to know how to do the other's job. So if the other person can't do it for some reason, they're ill or they get off away and work or something like that, then you have to be able to jump in to do it or know how to manage that situation. So filling in for your partner. Remember, you're always working as part of a team. That is very important. And there's might even be a situation where one partner has abundance of skills and does everything better at everything than the other partner. But you still shouldn't say or end up in a situation where one partner does everything. It's just unfair. You still have to do your part because they physically can't do and be everywhere at the same time. So you still have to chip in, okay, and help. Or if your partner is good at so many things, then what about the other things that your partner's not good at? Then it might be time for you to even develop skills, your own skills that would help you in your married life. Learning things. Time should be spent learning something that would be useful to the both of you. So, and because of that, your hobbies really are now secondary. Your marriage should not revolve around your hobbies. That's fine and well as if you've got so much time and everything else is fulfilled, then do that. But you're accountable to someone else now as well. and so hobbies and so forth, they're fine and well. They don't bring in money, and especially if they take time away from you helping your partner, then that should not be done. Okay, remember, you are now part of a team. Okay, so maybe if there's issues, maybe you can go and learn some about the tax system that will help the both of you. I know it sounds dry, it's not something people enjoy doing, but it's things that would help you as a couple. Enjoy your life to help you in life. Yeah, or if you wanted to do property investment, invest in property, then you go and learn, say, regulations around land taxes and so forth. Do research on that. Brush up on your knowledge and regulations around building or that sort of thing. Or if you wanted to buy land investments, what are the pitfalls of that? Do all that type of learning. Look, the thing is, the most important is attitude, rather than someone's skill level, because if you've got the right attitude, then you can go and learn that and learn it. And not only if you're going to learn it, but then you would put that into practice. If you have that mindset and you have that willingness to achieve and better yourself in life. And that is much better than just simply someone with the skills. Because someone with the skills and without that mindset would not be putting those skills into practice. It's far easier for someone to learn and be put through a course to learn something rather than trying to change someone's mindset. Okay, an example would be someone that wants to better himself or herself and help their partner or help their situation along can be put through and learn a bookkeeping course. So you can use that into practice rather than, say, trying to find someone with just bookkeeping skills or is a bookkeeper. They may not necessarily have that mindset. And to illustrate, I know someone that's been a bookkeeper for like 30 years and very good at bookkeeping. And I'll tell you, her mindset is that her skills are not put to use in how to better her situation or that of her family. She's used it to make sure that she's able to go on a certain amount of holidays per year, able to budget things so that and arrange things that there's going to be money for her holidays. So I don't begrudge people going on holidays, but it's all needs to be in context, and it's a matter of priorities. Because yes, a holiday is nice every now and then, but after going on a holiday and spending thousands of dollars, you come back and you've got nothing to show for it. Good experience, but thousands of dollars gone. What have you achieved? It's not an investment that will grow money or things like that. It's just about, having fun. It's not like it's not even, say, you bought a new couch. Could be a few thousand, but you've got something to show for it. That sort of thing would be, you enjoy it for many years. Okay? And, it's... People keep thinking, look, I get criticized for saying, why am I emphasizing so much on money? It's because we've got to be realistic. One of the biggest causes of divorce is over money. That's a reality. We can deny it all we want and play with idealism, put forth idealism. Money should never be a factor, but saying, hey, money causes stress and puts people through anxiety, financial pressure, and they're not their true selves. And people should not have to live like that. Living like that is not fun. So really, if you want to have a happy marriage, then you also need to consider finances. And if you don't have skills in financial skills, then you're going to learn it. As long as you've got the right attitude, you can learn. And that is very important in a marriage. I mean, look, if it was you came home from work, you work very hard and you come home and then you see your partner just spending the money willy-nilly and not appreciating it. How would you feel? As a person, you feel slighted, you feel taken advantage of, and everything you do, all your efforts mean very little. It's just wasted. Then resentment breeds. And resentment is unhappiness against your partner, and it builds up, it explodes. And that's one of the things. So if you're going to get married, you have to be aware that money is going to play a big part in a marriage, because you're also accountable to the other person. When you're single, you spend my money how you want because you're the only person that's going to wear it. Whether if you're irresponsible with money, who is it going to affect? It's yourself. But when you're married, what you do also affects someone else. So you cannot be irresponsible with money. Okay, it's unfair to the other person and very selfish. So if you're someone that cannot be conscious about money, then do not get married by all means, because it's simply, it can't last that way. So while I keep telling people that they should get married, marriage is wonderful, at the same time, I know that marriage is not for everyone. And I'm telling you, marriage is not for everyone. If you don't have the right attitude, a marriage is not for you. You're not a team player, marriage is not for you. Because it's all about also helping each other. Every decision you make, you have to consider your partner as well. That's only the right thing to do. Because otherwise, the marriage cannot last if it's just about you. I mean, put yourself in the other person's shoes. If you see your partner, everything is about them. How would you feel? Hang on, what about me? You can't have one person revolve around one person and the other person, nothing. So have a think about it. And now I have gone through all the things that you need to do in a marriage to ensure that it will work. And I guess to a lot of people, it seems like such a big thing, such onerous. I mean, I'm better off single. Is there any benefit to this? To being married? Why should I get married? What benefit would it bring me, seeing that it's just seems so onerous? Wouldn't it be easier being single? So, yes or no? Yes, you can do whatever you want when you're single because you're only answerable to yourself. Okay, in that respect. And you don't have to worry about what you do affecting someone else. So I guess, yes, if you are of that mindset, then you're better off being single. However, if you're able to be in a team, in a marriage, then it offers so many benefits. I mean, the basic thing of all is, on the basis of all is, just think two people can achieve and do far more than one person on their own. That is bottom line. Okay? But the two people, they need to work in a team in order to be better and better off than the one person on their own. There is no point in a marriage, in a team, where it's only one person doing all the work. Because then they're just doing their work, their output would be the same as a single person. But it's actually a disadvantage because they've got someone freeloading on them as well. And so they've got someone they've got to provide for as well, and it's basically dragging them down. So I guess that's also why there have been unsuccessful marriages and marriages that have been unsuccessful because it's been only one person doing everything. And that is unfair. And of course, it's going to break up. You know, one person gets sick of it. And I guess the other person that's not pulling their weight, it's either they can't or they won't or they do not care. And then it dissolves and then they're back to being single. They don't have that safety net of having someone to watch your back. Because at the end of the day, the great benefit of being married over being single is that you have each other to fall back on. Okay, you have that safety net of the other person as well, watching your back. And not only that, being able to achieve more with two people other than one person and get to your goals even sooner and being far more productive. That's the baseline. But if you want to go into specifics, then, you know, some of the potential reasons why it benefits everyone, marriage, both men and women, is firstly companionship. Okay, this is an emotional thing. Because marriage provides a sense of companionship and connection that is beneficial for people. I mean, having a partner to share one's life with can provide emotional support, reduce loneliness, and improve one's well-being. There is also shared responsibilities. I mean, marriage would involve shared responsibilities. And for example, a married woman may have someone to help with household chores and childcare, which can free up time and energy for her other pursuits and other things that she needs to do. But like I said, it needs to be benefit. She has to keep the marriage in mind and her partner in mind, because your time then is not just your own, it's also your partner's time. So all those hobbies that you used to do when you're single, is it fair for you to continue with them now that you've got a partner? Because the time spent on your hobbies is time taken away from being productive to help this partnership, this team. Yeah, if you remember that. Also, financial benefits, as is saying, you know, besides the some tax breaks in certain situations, it's really the ability to pool resources. And it's going to be very helpful if you're trying to save money or build wealth. I mean, just trying to rent a place. You know, it might nowadays can take up so much of your income. And for a lot of people, after they've paid the rent, bills, and bought food, then they have nothing else left over. So how can you build wealth? And I guess with a lot of people, a lot of couples, especially married, they use one partner's wages to pay all the bills, and the other's partner's wages are there for saving. So then straight away it helps you. And you know, even just the cost of renting someone split between two. Like I say, if, for example, you might rent a one-bedder apartment, it might cost you $500. But if you rent a two-bedder, it might be $600 for two people. So then it works out only like $300 per person. Much better than if you were each to rent your own place. And you pay almost only a little more in terms of overheads, like electricity bills. It's only a fraction more with two people than one person, because saying, yeah, you still got the one fridge, it still uses the same electricity, the lighting of the place the same, and if you were to heat up, the same sort of thing. Maybe you pay more in terms of more water being used because there's two people and electricity and so forth. In regards to an additional shower, that sort of thing. But it's all marginal. Okay, so financially, it does make sense. But then again, both partners need to be responsible with money because you're then accountable. Remember, you're accountable to your partner, not just yourself. If it's yourself, you can spend your money willy-nilly. Who does it affect? You, yourself. And so if you're doing yourself a disservice by your habits, then it all falls back on yourself. But if you spend it willy-nilly, it's also going to affect the other person, your partner. Because how well one does, what happens to one, directly affects the other. Because you're sharing a life together. Okay? So this is something that people don't grasp, I see, and don't realize. Where if you really think about it, it's quite basic. But then no one teaches people that. And I'd say not society and not even parents, which I am very surprised about, which is what parents should be doing. They should be, it should be a lot more than just raising your children to be physically big and just let them to their own devices. What about actually training them for life and imparting your knowledge and your experience that you've accumulated throughout your life? Why not hand that down to your children? That'll give them a big advantage in life and so forth. But I know as a lot of people, it would say, oh, they wouldn't listen. Look, what it should be is you give the advice, then it's up to them whether or not they take it on board. Okay, if they do, that's great. If they don't, it just falls back on them. They're responsible. You got to give good advice and you didn't take it. Who can they blame them? As parents then, you have done your responsibility, fulfilled your responsibility by passing that knowledge on. And whether or not they take it, then it's all on them. Okay? But parents, please do. Please teach your children and pass it on. It doesn't cost you anything. But these lessons are so valuable and it's not something that you can buy. Imagine you enroll in a course that will teach you all this. No one does. All right. And also, there is a range of health benefits as well. Because studies have shown that married people tend to have better overall health outcomes than unmarried people. And this can be due in part to emotional and social support from a spouse, as well as shared responsibilities that can encourage a healthier lifestyle. Okay? So, you might be indulging in ice cream all the time, and then your partner kind of taps you on the shoulder and kind of nah, honey, that's probably not a good idea, kind of thing. And you might feel, okay, a bit embarrassed by the second tub of ice cream you've had that week, that sort of thing. But also, yes, a very big thing about health and marriage, benefits of marriage and having a married partner, a married spouse, is just think about when you're ill. Okay, what happens when you fall ill? Who would look after you? I know I've come across some people that I don't need anyone, I can look after myself. Until he got really sick and he needed someone to look after him, and then he stopped saying that. Imagine. Could have told me, because there are instances where it's all fine and well when, say, you got the flu or cold or whatever, you can go up and cook yourself instant noodles or something like that. But what if you just can't get out of bed? If you're ill, unless you've had an accident or something, you can't go to hospital. When people go to hospital, but who's going to look after you then? You're in bed with a really bad flu, or if you happen to have COVID. The hospitals are not going to accept you unless you need to be in intensive care. Who's going to be cooking your meals for you, bringing it to you? Otherwise, every time you need to drink more water or so forth, you have to get out of bed and fetch it. It's an effort to do that every time when you're so ill, trying to get out of bed. And what about food then? Are you going to go get up and cook on your own? Some people say yes, you can call on Uber to deliver yourself food. But remember, Uber and that is takeaway food. And when you're ill, takeaway food is probably not something that you would find palatable, let alone try to digest it, as it's normally very oily. It's not sick people food. And it's just looking after and helping you to go to the doctor even. That sort of thing. You are going to be able to drive yourself. If you're going to be that ill that you need to go to a doctor, should you be driving? And then getting there and then getting back and say, okay, you call an Uber. It's not the same. Might drive you to your destination, but who's going to help you get out? Out of bed, get out of the car and go in. It's lots of different of reasons. And you might even need a special diet. How are you going to do that? Like I was saying, then your partner would be the one to help you. And, and that is the big thing. When it's one of the vows, what are the vows, the marriage vows is typically in sickness and in health. Lots of people can do that in health. That's simple. But not everyone can do the sickness. But it's in sickness is what you most need your partner for. And also, because of that, you need to choose a partner that would look after you in sickness, that has the heart, that has the care. But that's also another thing. Don't think that, now I need someone to look after me. I go find a partner to do it. No, it does not work that way. Think of it as yourself. Why would you be willing to look after someone in sickness? Because maybe if there's enough incentive, well, firstly, for some people, if there's enough incentive, if that person happens to be very wealthy, and you think you might inherit from them, then you do it. But if that's not the case, why would you look after the other person? It's love. Not only love, and how is love? It's built up over a number of years. That person has helped you over a number of years. They built up that credit with you. And because they built up that credit with you, you feel, I guess, say at the worst, obliged to pay them back, so to speak. Or you may consider, because they've helped you so much, it touches your heart, of course I'll help him or her now. Your partner's helped you so much throughout your life. This is the least I can do to pay back. And that is it. That's why when you have couples that have been married for so many years, one of them falls ill, the other partner rallies and helps that person and looks after that person. And they can do it because they've had a lifetime of the other person being good to them, helping them, And this is just a build-up of credit. And that's how you can do it. It's not easy looking after someone ill. Okay, they might be ill for a few days. That's fine. It's not much to look after. They may be ill for a few weeks. Okay, they may be but when you're talking about months, then it starts getting to be onerous, and sometimes years if someone's had an accident. Imagine, or in the case of say, like Michael J. Fox, happened to develop Parkinson's disease. And his wife, Tracy Pollan, they've been married since they were young, before he's developed it. And she stayed with him the whole time. And gather she's been looking after him as well through this illness. And that is true love. And that is because of love. And that's built up over a number of years with him. And once he got diagnosed and as he got worse and worse, she was still able to stay with him. Yeah, and also the late Christopher Reeve with his wife Dana. I mean, they were married for many years, had children, and he had that accident. He fell off the horse and broke his spine. Was it his spine or his neck? And was a quadriplegic. And so their relationship and their marriage totally changed, and she became his carer. Even though he had money and he had people donating for professional help, it's still a lot of onus on her to look after him. And she was able to do it because they were married for all that time. And I guess he built the credit with her. And so the love was there. And the love was, and someone's been good to you, of course you don't abandon them. You're going to help them. You know? And that is what a true marriage is about. And that's what a partner is for when you really need them most. They should step up. Step up and to the situation. But that's also something you need to keep in mind before you marry anyone and when you are dating and looking for a marriage partner. Very important. Can you envision that they'll be able and even willing to look after you when you're ill, if that so happens to be? So, something to really think about. Now, we're coming towards the end of our show. A bit of a recap. I've gone through Princess Charlene of Monaco's chart, and especially her marriage to Prince Albert. Poor Charlene. I mean, was a former Olympic swimmer and got to marry into royalty. And to everyone, that was like a fairy tale for most people. And become world famous all of a sudden. And gets to live in a palace and have all the designer clothes she could ever want, private jet, everything. But it's pretty clear to everyone that she has been very unhappy. And that started all the way from the wedding. It's actually even prior to the wedding. There were all these reports of her trying to leave Monaco several times, but she was being stopped. And she had her passport taken off her, so she could not leave. And palace officials tried to convince her to stay. And apparently it worked because she went through with the wedding. And she cried at the wedding. And the reason that was given was that she was overcome with emotion within all of it. But it's pretty apparent if you really look at it. Go back and have a look at those wedding videos. She was unhappy. It was not tears of joy or being overwhelmed. And so even Princess Diana looked far happier at her wedding than Charlene did. Though, yeah, I mean, she's unhappy, and I think part of the reason was the constant reports of paternity claims being made against him, and I think his children being, well, at least one being born during their courtship, and I guess that was a big blow to her, and she hasn't been seen as being particularly happy, and then. Even when she's in public doing duties, you can really see she's not happy. It's being forced. And she's even in 2001, spent like a good year in South Africa. And after the official reason was she's there for medical treatment. That's why she spent so long there. But, I think it really affected her mental state. It was really affected because she cut her hair short, like a man's haircut, and that style you never see in a royal woman, really, have their hair cut. And to me, that screamed of, I guess, showing her unhappiness, that she took it out on herself in that way. And from looking at her chart, it's really evident that she is good for him, definitely good for him. She is full of fire, and with his chart as well, they produce more fire. That's his best element. But that's also her worst element. So not good for her as well. And you can see the times when they married, met, got engaged and married. It was all in line with their houses of spouse being activated. And also, I guess even this year, 2024, well, actually 2023, I think is when it really happened. There were rumors about them getting separated, and 2023 was a rabbit year, and that combined it with her house of spouse, which had a dog there. And when you're married and it activates, it's normally not a good sign for the marriage. And so that puts pressure. And even this year, the dragon year actually clashes with her house of spouse. So that's not good. Next year might be the snake year, and that will not clash. However, she would go into her horse luck cycle, and that combines with her house of spouse and also Albert's house of spouse as well. Now, unlike the year, the luck cycle actually lasts 5 to 7 years. And so you have the effect of that long. And so all these issues with their wedding, with their marriage, so you can think, and them he's not being that good for her and issues that keep coming up, I really don't think their marriage can take it much longer. I mean, next year it's going to be horrendous pressure. I mean, the pressure's still going to be on, but then this is be constant instead of it lasting 1 year and going away. Well, it's been affected by 2 years, but next year is going to be another good solid year, good solid 5 years for her, I should say. And I don't think she can take it. And so as much as we all like a fairy tale and they're happily ever after, I don't think it can hold. I know it's been holding because I guess her children are very young. And if she was to divorce, then she would lose custody of them because they're heirs. And so they would be in line for the throne. And with the rules there, it's only legitimate children that can inherit the throne. And so his other 2 adult children cannot. So it's these 2 young ones that would be heirs. And for that reason, I don't think there's any way she can take them out. And because of that, I think that she stayed because of them. Okay? So that's my take on that. And also, what do the benefits of marriage, what does marriage bring? Okay, I spent all this time I spent all this time advising people how to choose a partner for marriage, but I've also now had to go and actually explain people. But so now I've come out and explained to people how you should actually act in a marriage in order to make it great and have it succeed. And why should you put out all this effort for it to succeed? Because there are great benefits to marriage rather than being on your own. If you can be part of a team and be a team player, as you're saying, 2 people are always better than 1 person at anything as a task. Because you have 2 people, both the effort on it and their skills and the ability that they provide at it as well. So that's why it's always beneficial to have 2 people. Okay? That's why marriage is so beneficial. So that's my take on it. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts by leaving your comments on my Facebook page. Just search for Miss Dragonfly. And I also have another Facebook page, Make Marriage Great Again. Please follow both if you can, because I do post different things on the Facebook pages, but at least follow one. And if there is a topic you'd like me to cover, then feel free to leave it there as well. And if I can cover it, then I will. So that's it for the show. Remember to tune in same time next week. And until then, it's bye for now.